Okay, guys, the topic for today is... Okay, so you guys will need to listen for this.
Sure.
If a man is expected to assume his traditional role as a provider, a woman should assume her traditional role in the kitchen.
Yes!
We agree.
I totally agree with that. Oh my word.
Okay.
I love that. That's so true. Because I don't like this thing where we create double standards for gender roles.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
If we're gonna have gender roles, let's be consistent.
Do we actually?
I agree with that.
For this whole thing, you guys will just understand what we are saying.
Yeah, you just have to listen. So yeah, if I'm expected to be a provider, I'm expected to go out there. You expect me to be paying your bills and helping you acquire certain items. Then I'm also expected I'm entitled to expect that you are doing
but
the
at the
same.
end of the day, you as a man, you're a human being. Therefore, you need to eat, you need to clothe yourself. Therefore, you need to provide for yourself regardless. Therefore, be a provider for yourself, number one, for your family, and now I'm going to be a provider, jointly so.
But I don't think that's the topic. No, because I think that
Read your question
context,
again.
yes. Because
at home.
Don't take
traditional.
Sometimes men put this pressure on themselves. Because as women, we don't mind providing. But then this happens where we're providing and then you go cheating. That's a thing. Because you feel emasculated, if that's the word.
Yeah.
So is it us putting the pressure on you, or just you putting the pressure on yourself?
But wait.
That's what happens. In the moment you don't feel like a provider, you go playing around.
Norman, we must read that question again.
I think you guys are going on
Being strong, independent black woman, which is not what
It's not about that. It's just a fact of even if the man is the sole provider in the household, why should I now take up the domestic role of the household?
No.
It's not even about expectations. If you as a man decide you're gonna go and get that paper for our family and I'm gonna look after the children,
it a decision,
but you're gonna cook. If we're making a decision together, what's the issue?
No, that's not what
it's an
it's saying.
expectation. It's not a decision.
We're saying that if as a man I'm expected to be the provider, therefore
why is
I
it
can
so much for me to expect you?
So
why do you need to expect something from us?
Because you
expect
expect to provide. You want to be this equality. You want me to treat you as an equal. So you are expected to.
No, the thing here in this particular topic, it's if a woman expects that from a man. From where I'm standing, it's fair for the man to expect from a woman. But if a man goes up and says, no, it's my responsibility, and I didn't expect it at all from him, then it shouldn't hinder me from pursuing my professional career.
Yeah, but
sure. I think that's a different situation.
I don't think it's fair to say that then you should expect us to do something just because we expect you to do something.
Double standard.
I get that it's a double standard and everything.
But it's okay.
No, but I just I'm just trying to think of like a hypothetical scenario.
Because look, okay, let's say we're in the household, right? And hypothetically, the light goes out. Then you look at me. If I am hungry, I'm fully entitled to look at you.
I can expect something from you. It doesn't mean that you have to. Like it's like when here's a good scenario. When you buy a bottle or a drink for a girl at the club, now you must expect sex because you bought it.
No.
That's a diluted version of you provided something at the club, and here's something else that I should provide after the club.
Do you go to the club and expect a guy to buy a drink for you?
Yes!
No.
Okay, no, but me personally, I don't. But what I'm saying is, even if there is an expectation, why must it necessarily be now an expectation that I
give something back?
Why is it so much?
Why must we give something back?
To be our equal?
What person?
We are making you I'm making you my equal. I'm making you strong, independent.
Why can't we expectation? No.
But why, if you're talking about equality, if I'm expecting you to provide, why don't you have the reciprocal expectation of me to provide for you as well?
You are providing.
Why must I now?
If I'm providing for you, I can provide for myself. But I don't need you to be providing. You must match or do something else.
That's why you have helpers, isn't it? Why are you devaluing us? Why do we have to do the hard labor?
It's not hard.
It is hard labor.
My real problem
That is thing is, we can't equivocate what the man has to do and what the woman has to do. I think that as as human beings, you should be able to do equivocal things. So if you're going to go job, if you're going to work in the morning, I'm also going to work in the morning. It doesn't mean if you're going to work, I now have to be slaving in the kitchen.
I'm not deviating.
That's what the proper expectation
I
should
hear
be.
that, but I'm saying, why do you have to expect something in return when someone else expects something from
Because
you?
that's a relationship. A relationship is an interaction.
Not always. If I take it down to, like, if I take it back to the sex example and the buying of the things, like, why should you expect something back from me just because I expected you to do one thing?
So I must just be Father Christmas me.
No, why can't you just give? Why can't I expect something from you? You give it to me and then we say that's that.
But I don't agree with that.
No, you guys want to.
I don't agree with that. I just believe
There's a lot of times when a girl can give a guy head and not receive head too.
Yeah.
I'm expecting for you to give head. And
No, stop it.
That's actually a beautiful one. Guys, listen thing.
Whoa.
Guys, no, let's discuss.
The keyword here is expectation.
Yeah.
If you expect the man to go and to provide, then surely you must be human enough and not
Yes.
hypocritical. I mean, you must be willing to accept that
No,
there's an
the question
expectation.
there.
No, I agree with you.
I'm not
I
a
agree with
person
you.
that
I
expects
agree
a lot.
that, you know, when you're in a relationship is a partnership. Therefore, both
Exactly.
parties need. But what I'm saying is, why is the obligation for the man to provide reciprocal to an obligation for me to cook for you?
No, but
That's
wait.
my
Hey, Mario, wait, what do you wanna go put cucumber on your face and in the spas and stuff?
I'm giving you good conversation.
Conversation.
No, you guys take that
That's
in my
lazy.
time. No,
That's actually laziness.
guys actually do need that because a lot of guys will, at the end of the whole relationship, when they're cheating, they'll realize that the person that they're with is actually not talking to him as much as the new girl. The new girl wants to know what's this and that. Literally when you, if you've been aside,
Wait, let me ask you.
When I equate providing to conversation.
Wait, can I ask this? Right? Okay, because we're not saying necessarily that we agree with those traditional roles, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's say we flip it around, right?
Okay.
And you're gonna go out, you're gonna work, you're gonna provide, I'm gonna stay at the house, right?
You better have a dick.
So then let's say now I'm going to say I refuse to cook because why should I cook? I'm gonna
Actually,
it's not reciprocal.
It's fine.
It's not fine because the thing is,
wait, come back and cook.
No, if you're not
it's not
cooking.
fair on you as the provider to do everything.
Why not?
I'm just there for conversation.
No, but wait, if you're not
It's
cooking,
not a relationship is a partnership
Yeah,
of some
that is
sort.
not a relationship.
So
Then
in
I'm
a
just a
partnership,
blessee.
exactly. And a
basically.
partnership requires both people to do something to
Equal
make it work.
effort.
Equal effort.
but that's not the point. The point is, why is my something have to be me cooking?
Contribution of
No,
No.
how are we equating?
Okay, let me tell you all the things that a woman
to
can
cooking?
do for
So
you.
providing for my family somehow equates it to me having to
Wait,
wife
what's wrong
having
with
to cook.
cooking, guys? I feel like
Yeah,
There's
like, why
nothing
is
wrong. I'm trying to understand where you guys
We
are coming from.
love cooking, but
It's
we're
an
just
expectation of the cooking.
Okay.
Expectation should
Question.
fall.
Yes.
What
Expectation
if
should fall.
what if it was the roles were reversed? What if you guys were expected to provide and we were expected to cook? Would you be comfortable with that, or would you still say, why am I expected to provide?
No. It goes back to my point, in that both parties need to be contributing something. So even if you're not cooking for me, you're bringing in assets into the relationship. You're bringing in good dick into the relationship. You are looking after the kids. You're doing something else. Your place doesn't necessarily need
I
to be
think-
slaving over a stove the whole day.
I think you're taking cooking as too
Or
literal.
cleaning.
When you say cooking, we're saying domestic duties.
Yes, that's
not
what-
literally
that's what
a
I
pot.
said.
That's
Come back to
cooking
the
is
bed not being made.
Cooking is symbolic of everything. It's of the house being clean. It's of the
Yeah.
kids coming back and getting the homework done. It's symbolic for that entire thing. So now you can't say, I'm working, I'm providing all this, I come home tired. Now I'm then expected to do all the domestic duties on top of that while you chill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just for conversation. Guys,
Okay, so wait, what if I'm able to
I feel like you guys
fit
don't
that
value some things.
description
No.
and also pursue my career?
Sorry?
Wait, please repeat that.
So if I'm able to fit the description of the cooking in the not so
Domestic.
literal sense,
Yeah.
in the domestic sense,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
But I'm also able to pursue my career.
There's nothing wrong with that. Wife material right
It's a bit-
there.
But no, there's something wrong with that. Why is a wife someone who has to cook? Why do you have that
No,
perception?
it doesn't have to.
That is. Why are you so happy
it's
about
not-
it?
it's not about
Cooking
cooking
shouldn't
per se, it's
be.
nurturing.
Why are you so
Like,
lazy
you
to
are
cook for
wife,
yourself?
You are a
No.
professional woman. Like, we like that.
Why are men lazy to cook for themselves?
Wait,
Why can't you feed
No,
yourself?
I personally don't mind cooking.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
would say, I think I've mentioned this to a lot of people. I enjoy. I'm that guy that will look at ingredients, recipe books, and be like, "Yo, I want to try this out."
Yeah.
That's just an interest kind of like in a relationship. It's a partnership, man. Like it's not that your roles are limited to cooking and cleaning. We can discuss like what our roles are exactly in the relationship, and then move forward from there. But there is that expectation still, which if I'm doing certain things, I expect something from you as well. It's a partnership.
I was asking you guys, what if you have a scenario in which this man is moneyed? He can afford to have a cook, he can afford to have a gardener, a cleaner, any other domesticated role that you want. But all he wants from his wife is to be a companion to him. What's the issue with that?
It's fine.
That's fine.
It's his decision.
But can I tell you what the issue is?
No, guys, I think we have to be clear.
Can I tell you what the issue is?
Can I just say this? We have to be clear. We're not saying if preference is preference. We're saying expectations, right? It's like if there's an expectation on me to fit into a certain stereotype and role that society has forced onto me, then why is it irrational for me to expect the same from you if that's what you're forced?
Can I tell you why it's
I'm not saying preference. If the preference is, if the guy is happy to provide and says, no, you just do your nails the whole day, it's fine.
Then he's going against the societal
No, we say preferences. If it's both preferences.
Is he not a man anymore? Is there no expectation from society? Because you said a society.
It's up to the, because isn't we saying it's the relationship. So if the partner is saying,
so someone can choose to just forego all those expectations.
Yes, if you do that, but let's be consistent. Let's be consistent.
But I feel like at the end of the day, it comes back to what Cash was saying. You men put all those expectations on yourself. You feel like you're less of a man if you can't provide. If my car's better than yours, now you have an issue with it. So whether or not society forced the expectation on you, you put it on yourselves.
But you see now the problem is, and I think it goes back to whether we like it or not, roles are a real thing. Even if I don't put the pressure on myself to say, well, I don't have to provide, my wife is going to provide. Or my
like your wife's parents, what are they going to say though?
What is she going to say?
Okay, wait, can I tell you the current situation right now is that men are professionals and women are professionals, but women still have the burden of having to domesticate themselves. When men speak to other men, it's like, I'm trying to, can she cook? Besides the fact, besides having a degree, besides being an accountant, a lawyer, whatever, we're still expected to cook.
Yes.
Why?
No. 7,000.
No, that's the problem. That's the problem.
No,
that's the issue at hand. The issue is that men cannot sustain themselves.
But I mean, on the same note,
Can you see?
your car breaks down, you don't go opening the bonnet to baby.
That's a lie. How do you know?
How do you know?
What if I do?
The problem is that you're used to lame bitches in your life.
Yeah.
Who don't know how to fix cars.
Basically.
I'm just saying.
So you can fix the car.
Hell yeah, nigga.
And at least I know where the water and everything goes, so...
But generally as
some people don't even know how to open a bonnet.
Yeah, true.
But generally as men, you need to change your perception on the whole domesticated woman thing. Like, why is it there? Why do you want someone who is submissive? It's like, it's this need of yours to want someone ready.
But in the same regard, it's still...
Girls
talk to their friends. Yes, girls talk to their friends and say, yeah, you must pay for my nails, you must take care of me.
Okay, from my
Not exactly. Let's be realistic.
From my perspective, a man is going to take care of me. That's what you're saying.
No, let's
from
talk
my
about us
personal
right now.
experience, I know that there's a guy, I've known him for years, he's a doctor, he obviously has money. He doesn't, the only thing that he buys is like bottles when we go out, if we go out together. He never ever buys anything for me. He's never bought me a single thing. He's never even bought me airtime, okay? Yeah. But literally, it took one day, I've known him for 3 years, one day this year for me to cook for him, and then he started sending me his schedules, this and that. Like literally he made the whole thing, like what makes me girlfriend or dating or anything like that material based on how domestic I am. He's never provided. I've never expected him to provide. I've never needed that. And he's even said that he can't provide for me. I have too much already. But then for me to cook for him, that was the, oh, now actually I should be loyal to you. Now, no. So it is there. You guys may say, no.
What's the problem here?
The problem is that men always equate women in terms of domestic issues. Never mind her face and her body.
Look, guys, okay, look, we can't
we need
relinquish
to rid
our
ourselves
traditions because I'm looking back to like, okay, the reality of like just my situation. Yeah. Also from personal experience. If I want to bring someone home, okay, look, I'm not trying to bring someone home who doesn't have a degree and stuff.
Yeah.
I want to bring someone home and they just don't know their way around the kitchen, guys. Like they don't know what they usually.
Why didn't you teach them?
Yeah.
Before you took them home?
Yeah.
And then you guys can equalize it.
Maybe they just don't know because they never had to.
Or they went to boarding school.
But
Guys,
by the time I'm bringing you home, you still don't know how to cook. No one's trying to teach you.
But
you don't know how to rich.
Do you see how you have social constructs in your head right now, so deep and embedded that you can't see beyond a woman who can't cook as a wife or domesticated in that sense? I mean, if you are serious about wifing someone, like taking them home, the fact that maybe I don't know how to make your favorite beef roast or whatever shouldn't hinder you. I mean, we can learn together. Same thing with sex. If I don't know how to, learn together.
Guys, but let's not use these utopias, guys, because
all I'm saying
it's not a utopia. At the end of the day, everything can be changed.
You know what's funny?
No. If you look at the 60s, people have changed their mindset about how they view black people. Therefore, we can do the same thing about how we view women in general.
Okay, so why do you guys, when you go to weddings, you sing Omako Dungawe to Swashelas Peget?
Yeah. It's just a song.
Even on Twitter, girls are always trashing broke niggas. So then what you're doing, you're saying my worth is attributed to how well I can provide.
No, your worth is not about how well you can provide for me. It's about how well you can provide for yourself. Because at the end of the day, we talk about relationships as a partnership. Now, when you come in with absolutely nothing,
and you get
what you said broke.
But as an independent woman, do you want a broke man next to you? That's what we're talking about.
Why can't you provide?
If you're broke as a girl, do not expect your menza to be rich.
But
it's just that we have standards.
We're not talking about girls who are literally expecting guys to buy them everything. Like girls who just want, like we're talking about people who are going to be in a relationship, in a partnership, in marriage type of thing.
Okay.
We're not talking about those. At Kong, I need to look good because of my man. Like that's not where we're at.
Okay, so
like a lot of the time in society, going back to the expectation, the reason why the expectation that men should be a provider still stands because people are lazy, and they will hunt for a man who's rich based off society's expectation.
Okay, so I think how do we feel about gender roles? Because also the gender roles are the leading factor to expectations, you know. So would it be, I believe that someone must bring in the bacon, you know. If it's going bad for me and you my wife, you need to take care of us. It's fine, I'll cook.
You are cool.
It's fine, I'll cook. But someone needs to take care of us. That's the way it needs to be. So I don't know, maybe we should challenge gender roles.
We need to challenge masculinity and femininity as well.
But we're teaching our kids from the beginning because it's like it starts from the toys.
I feel like gender roles goes back to religion as well. Because if you're a Christian woman, you are expected to submit to your husband. It's not negotiation.
No,
that's how it works. Read the Bible. If you don't read the Bible.
No, I understand what the Bible says, but I honestly believe that we put our own definitions to what submission actually.
So submission means you know that I'm the head of the family. It even describes us as the guy is the head.
To remix the Bible.
No, what does the head mean?
The head means that
the leader.
I set the vision for the family and where the family is going, and you need to support me in my vision. If I'm saying, regardless of what I'm making.
But unfortunately, I don't think that applies in today's.
Remixing the Bible.
No. Let me explain. Because unfortunately, in our generation, we no longer aspire to marriage. Number one, and secondly, there's a lot of broken homes. So if there is no man, why should my mom continue to be a nick? She's still ahead because she's the one who's assuming the man's role. But why is it a man's role?
Yeah, but you see, it's different when there is no man to be the head. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
if there is a man, I think...
Some men must just slide in.
Going back to the gender roles, it shouldn't actually be defined as the man's role. I think that's another thing that she's trying to bring light to.
It should be what the provider's role.
It should be, it should be genderless, basically. It should be like, there's a provider, and then there's a, I don't know what you want to call that person.
So
coming back to the question, would you say that if the man is expected to be a provider, he therefore has power, and therefore through that power, he should rightfully be able to expect his woman to do what he says?
if she expects it of him,
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
can
exactly.
expect it of
Yeah.
her.
But
That's all
that's
we're
how it
saying.
works.
And
We're
also,
saying
I
let's be
think-
consistent
But they
Yeah,
also
you
say-
can't look at a subset of the entire thing. You
Yes.
must-
Because, yeah.
But ultimately, guys, expectation should be equal. You expect something of me, I can expect the same of you.
Because equally, if the roles were reversed, I really think you guys would expect it too.
Okay.
Just be consistent.
Ladies?
Yeah.
I think expectations should fall, just like gender roles should fall. Everything should be self-defined by a relationship. Yeah.
I don't think expectations will ever fall. It's part of being human. You always expect something from someone else. However, I don't think the expectation of a man providing should be reciprocal to an expectation of me being in the kitchen.
Don't
quite
you
frankly.
think we should just stop this whole providing thing? Why should we
Nah,
put this
bitch, we
pressure on
need to
men?
eat.
Yeah, someone needs
Like
to bring in the
we
package.
can't always say that men have to be the providers. Do you
could
see? It's
come from both
problematic.
ways.
It needs to come from either way. If you have the skill, if I have the skill, whoever.
No, but you see, you get
We
an
need to stop
equality where we
attaching.
both got the skill. So someone has got to compromise.
Yeah, one of you
Yes.
has to compromise.
Yeah,
One has
something
to-
must give.
Yeah, someone's gotta be the provider. Someone's
So
gotta.
that's
I
have
don't
to
think
do
so
with male
necessarily. I don't think you have
and
to. I don't think you have to compromise. I think both can do both. If you know what I'm
Yes.
Okay,
saying.
you have an understanding at some point because something's
It's
gonna
still
give at some
compromise.
point.
But let's
But
not
how are
assign.
relations,
Let's not
guys?
assign. To
Yeah, we don't have to
men.
assign based on gender.
Yes.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that there has to be one provider, one
Yes.
caregiver. We can both be providers and both be caregivers.
Look at the
if
plot
you,
twist
if
coming
you
in.
if you share the roles
That's-
properly.
that's-
And
that's
Siphokazi
the
is
point.
shaking her head.
Let's just.
Plot twist coming.
No, I was shaking my head at what he was saying.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that if we can all do it, let's all do it.
Yeah.
Massively.
Yes.
Yeah.
Done.